Do you want to kick ass at Destiny? Well, here are 10 essential tips that you absolutely need to know to be awesome. If you don't follow these tips, you are not awesome. You are the opposite of awesome, which is just very lame. You lame-o. Tip number 1. Now, this is going to sound generic. I know, it totally does, but here's the deal. Don't worry about picking the perfect class or the right class. We don't know what the right class is yet. No one has gotten to that point of number crunching everything and theory crafting and figuring out perfectly how those classes are going to perform and what's the best and blah blah blah. Play them all. Destiny is a great game, and all of the classes do play differently once you get into their skill trees. The problem is it takes a while to get in there, but once you do, play them all. See what feels good. Does throwing a giant, massive purple grenade sound good, or does coming down and crashing on enemies with your body and just creating a shockwave that murders everyone sound good? Or just throwing a knife at an oncoming guardian, just throwing a knife at his face sound more like your playstyle? Try them all. Try them all. See what it's like. I have to say, I capped all 3 classes on the beta, and I enjoyed them all equally. The Warlock, however, was my personal favorite in PvE, and the Titan was my personal favorite in PvP. The Hunter was both great at all of them. So if I had to pick one class for me personally, I would pick the Hunter. But it's all up to you and what feels good for you. Tip number 2 comes around the same time as choosing a class. So in the beginning, you want to set a button layout to something that sounds like it'll be very comfortable for you, or something that you're used to in other games. If you've played Halo, you might look at the jumper button layout. You can find those in the settings menu, and you can adjust those as you see fit. I would also highly suggest turning the look sensitivity almost all the way up to around 10. 10 is what feels really good for me, but however, I will say that when you're flying and jumping in the air, the 10 sensitivity can be a little too sporadic, and 8 or 9 tends to be really good for jumping, but stick with it. That's the most important thing. If you pick a button layout and you pick a look sensitivity, I would highly suggest to stick with it. It's the only way that you're going to become super comfortable with it, and by choosing it very early on in the game, you'll learn the game without knowing any other button layout, just that one. So it's good. If you're confused about button layouts, the default one is also very good. Tip number 3 is really simple. Explore everything. Destiny is a very big world with a lot of things that you can see. Beautiful, beautiful sights, wonderful textures. The sunsets themselves are just wonderful to watch. Hidden chests all over the place, full of in-game currency called Glimmer. It is some of the only ways to get Glimmer in the game. You get a lot of it by opening these chests, and you can find them randomly throughout areas. In fact, they respawn rather quickly too, so you can kind of make a loop and farm them, at least you can in the beta. Along with exploring, you'll also find areas that you might not be able to do at the level that you found them at. Jot those down. Remember those for when you get higher in the level. Remember exactly where those places were, learn how to get around quickly, and you'll be able to explore even better when you reach the cap level or the level requirement to reach there. There are hidden areas throughout the Cosmodrome, and that's just a small sliver of the world of Destiny. I found so many places that I couldn't actually access because the enemies would kill me in one hit. That kind of exploration is highly encouraged and very, very well worth it. Also, while exploring, you can run into these things called random events. Every so often, you'll be walking around and suddenly it'll be like, there's a public event, do you want to join this? And all you have to do is go on over to where that event is. You'll see it on your map, the big icon will show up. Go over there and start helping the players that are already there, and you'll get an award once a day for completing that. And depending on how you do in it, you can get gold, silver, or bronze. And it's fairly easy to get silver. All you have to do is pretty much complete the event. Currently in the beta, there's 5 golden chests, or loot chests, hidden throughout the world. There are in 5 locations that only you can see. Those 5, once opened, will give you a faster mount. Now, you can check my channel for a guide on where to find all 5 chests to get your really fast Sparrow mount. Number 4, and this one is so important, guys. Remember that you can get bounties in the tower. You absolutely need those bounties. Seriously, I cannot stress this enough. The experience gained by them is massive, and it goes towards your overall level, armor, weapons, even skills. Not to mention that the rep gain that you'll get is very, very useful once you get to a high enough level to actually purchase that gear from those individual reps. So I would highly suggest getting the bounties. If you're going into the Crucible, grab the 3 or however many there are bounties that you can get. Those experience points are monstrous. They are such a high amount that they make the bounties one of the best ways to get experience in the game. So again, get those bounties. You absolutely should get them. Number 5, bring a sniper rifle everywhere. Seriously. Bring a sniper rifle with you no matter what you're doing. If you're going into the Crucible on the moon map, the sniper rifle is almost unprecedented. You will do so well just by being able to kill people. Don't forget though, aim for their heads. A headshot from a sniper will devastate even the strongest Fallen or Hive or Guardian that you encounter on your way. If you're doing any strike missions, especially in Devil's Lair, I highly suggest bringing a sniper rifle. When most weapons are doing about 60 damage to the Devil Killer in particular, that giant spider tank that you find in the Devil's Lair strike mission, the sniper rifle was doing 572 damage when I just did it. That is so massive. So massive. And since secondary ammo is so easy to come by, I highly suggest having that sniper rifle. Shotguns can't get critical hits like the sniper rifle can. The sniper rifle can get critical hits. It can also hit when the spider tank has its like little valve thing showing. It can also hit for over 1,000 on there. Not to mention that you will make quick work of captains and wizards and knights with that weapon. Pick the sniper rifle for a secondary weapon. In story modes, however, I have found that shotguns tend to be the best because if you're doing hard mode storylines, the only things that are really going to kill you really quickly is the melee units, such as the stealth vandals or the thralls. If they get too close to you, they will two-shot you, sometimes even one-shot you. Having a shotgun will help you. With that said, so will an auto rifle, so it's up to you on what you pick for a secondary weapon. But just remember, a shotgun cannot get a critical strike, and you have to get way too close to a boss to be able to use a shotgun. Use the sniper rifle. Tip number 6. Use your environment. You need to use your environment. Learning how to manipulate the things around you is one of the only ways to survive when playing on harder difficulties, as well as when playing in the Crucible. The environment is set up in such a particular way that it is designed to help you succeed. The environment has been looked at very closely by the developers, and you can tell immediately on the first level how much cover plays, how the importance of cover, the environment, everything that you see on the map was put there for a reason. It is your job to figure out what that reason is. Use the environment. And like I said, it's the only way to survive on hard mode. Speaking of hard mode, tip number 7. Play story missions on hard. I know that sounds crazy and not like a tip that you want, but not only will you feel more accomplished when you finally complete that mission, but it'll make you a better player. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Now, I did all of the hard missions solo on a Titan, and I noticed that my gameplay and reflexes got a lot faster as I got going. The levels actually became easier as I went, not necessarily harder. Sure, the design-wise they got harder, but I knew what to do, and I knew how to encounter those. Same with heading into PvP. After I played the story missions on hard difficulty, I was able to walk into PvP and feel like I knew exactly how my gun was going to play. I knew exactly how long it was going to take me to reload, because I had to know these things. I knew how to jump and move at the same time. I knew how to hide behind cover. So again, that's why I would say use your environment. It's just playing the story missions on hard was the best experience I found in Destiny so far. I capped 2 characters, my Hunter and Warlock, while not playing hard mode, and then I capped my Titan only doing hard modes. Significant difference. Significant difference. On that same token, it doesn't matter what class you are, at the lower levels at least, the Warlock and Hunter can solo those just as well as a Titan, because it doesn't matter how much health or armor you have, you will die in 1 or 2 shots anyways. So, it doesn't matter how much armor you have. Just use your environment. And bring a sniper rifle. Tip number 8. If you have multiple characters, make use of the vault. The vault that you find in the tower is actually very useful, and I didn't know that until many hours spent into the game. It is actually possible to trade items between your own characters using this method, including armor and weapons. So say your Warlock doesn't ever use a hand cannon, because that's just the type of character you want. Your character only uses auto rifles. Well, say your Hunter. Your Hunter gets a very nice green or rare drop, beautiful, beautiful auto rifle. Well, you put that in the vault. I was actually able to save up some higher level equipment so that as soon as my Titan was able to hit that level, they were already equipping greens that I had saved. Number 9. Don't be afraid to retreat. Sometimes you'll find yourself in overwhelming situations with way too many enemies to deal with, or unpredictable situations that you just don't know how to react. Don't feel ashamed. Regroup, focus, and outsmart your enemies. If you can retreat to a safe distance to get, say, thralls to stop following you, you can then go back in knowing exactly where they come from, exactly where they are, shoot them, retreat, go back, do it again. It's a game of attrition. On hard modes, you need to be able to outsmart the Fallen and outsmart the Hive. You're a Guardian! You can do those things. And finally, tip number 10, be social. Destiny is an MMO FPS game. It is designed to be social. Yes, Destiny has some issues, and Bungie has had some issues, apparently, implementing a social aspect into the game with their voice chat being almost awful. The thing is, no one's using voice chat. Check your button layout immediately to see what your button is that allows you to interact with players. This is never explained in-game and may actually be difficult to find. I wasn't able to find it for a long time, and then suddenly I clicked on R3, I believe it was, and suddenly I could interact with the player. I could talk to them, I could invite them to my fire team. It was excellent. But it's really important to know where that button is. In that same idea, use a headset. There is no text chat to speak of that I've been able to find, and I don't think there is one in the game, so voice chat and headsets is the way to go. I know a lot of people don't like to hear whiny little kids on the PlayStation, but it's the only way to coordinate well in both the Crucible, strikes, and just walking around the tower. If you want to talk to someone, go ahead and do it. It is a social game. Be social, make new friendships, get in a fire team, do some cool things, go explore the world together. Destiny is a massive game, and when it launches on September 9th, it is going to rock our world. It is very, very good. It is a great game, and it can only get better. I can't wait to see what they implement into the game, and I hope that these tips help you achieve greatness and become legend in Destiny, the game. Thank you guys so much for watching, and remember, never give up, never surrender.